6 months that I lived in Africa. Africa is dangerous. You imagine my friend yesterday. I posted on my story about the 6 months that I lived in Africa and how I can't wait to go back this year. And this brother said to me, he said, man, Africa is dangerous. My brother, you live in Chirac. Yes, home of King Von, the serial unaliver, Chief Keef. We saw what happened over Juneteenth weekend. I mean, come on, man. It's dangerous in the States. And I think that's one of the things that they use to scare us, fear, instilling fear in us and saying, oh, this is dangerous. Oh, this is scary. Don't do this, right? And if you listen to that and you internalize it, you realize that, it makes you not want to leave your environment. It makes you want to stay trapped in a potentially very dangerous environment, more so than where you want to go or travel to. It's almost like the lie when they tell us that Africans hate us. I'm going to do a video about that, so...
Hello, my people. As you see in this short clip, today we're going to talk about this stuff we hear often being used in the West or any other part of the world, that Africa is dangerous. The African continent is a dangerous place to be. They talk about it to discourage other people from visiting Africa. And when they talk about dangerous, they mean that it's not safe. That if you travel to Africa, that your life might be in danger. And sometimes people buy into this media hype, the mainstream media. You know what I mean? Because they are good in talking about other stuff happening around the world, but they're not good in highlighting the stuff that is happening in their own place, in their territory. You know what I mean? That's why some of the black people born in the West, when they look at Africa in a negative way, because the only thing they hear from people, the mainstream media, is all about negative stuff. But sometimes you don't blame them, because it's negativity that sells in the news. If somebody is telling you something, they need it to be like outrageous to sell, or to get the attention of people. That's what they do. But they're doing it, with another stuff in their mind, to make sure that Africa, no one visit Africa, because except them, because these people, they go to Africa. You know what I mean? If you go to all these African countries with the animals, wildlife, and beaches, and good, natural, environment, you see them there. See a lot of them there, going there. But those black people that are born in Africa, that are born in the West, or in America, or in Europe, they travel across the continent. They don't go to Europe or they go to America. They don't talk about going to Africa, because they have fed them with these lies that Africa is dangerous. But I'm not saying that Africa is free of trouble, but Africa is not different from other places in the world where we have troubles. We have ups and downs in many places, even in the West. Even this year alone in UK, there's a lot of terrible stuff that happens here. People just unaliving a lot of people in the streets. This summer, this 2024 summer, we have heard about people. I don't know. It's just this time around, it's dangerous in UK now, and I believe it's gonna be the same with the other places in the world, in the West, because people just coming out to unalive people for nothing. And the West have an answer to it. They will say the person have mental issues. But when they talk about something happening in Africa, they don't use mental issues. It's just there are people that have mental issues. Africans doesn't have it. You see the hypocrisy in the West. That's what we see in the West. Because they don't want you to know that it's very dangerous now in the West. People just come out from nowhere. It didn't do them anything. You don't see stuff like that in Africa. You don't see people just unaliving people in Africa for nothing. But these people that are doing it in the West, they're not criminals. They're not going to steal something. Like in Africa, you might see somebody trying to steal something and maybe commit some crime there. But here, it's just somebody coming out from nowhere and injuring innocent people, innocent lives. You know what I mean? You don't see this in Africa. But the West, we always say through it at Africa that is dangerous. But the West is more dangerous. You cannot even live in Ukraine now because there's war there. Is the place not? Is Ukraine is part of the West, or they want to make it part of the West? It's dangerous, and America is dangerous as well because of people, crazy people, coming out, and because why the UK is a little bit better than America is that the guns are not legalized. So people doesn't use guns in UK to commit a lot of crimes. They use a knife or sword. But you see the same thing. If these people that use knife and they have access to gun, they will use gun. Just like in America. There's crazy people everywhere. There is nowhere is safe. Africa is even more safer because you don't see, except in case of terrorism. I mean, extremism that leads to terrorism, that is just terrorizing people. If not, you don't see stuff we see here. Somebody will just come out with a knife and start, going after innocent people. But the West want you to believe that it is only in Africa that we see this happening. That Africa is dangerous. So that you don't go to Africa. So that they will only just go there and come back quietly without advertising it. That is, Africa is the best place to be in the world. But I have to put a caveat to what when I say it's the best place to be if you have money. I will not be hypocrite to say that we don't have some issues in Africa. We got. But most of our issues is coming from our corrupt politicians that are making things hard and difficult for their people. Peace.